Hi, I'm really excited. I got my new aluminium and wood stretcher bars from Artel, and I'm going to be doing some applied canvas and threads paintings. I've got 7 of them, so I can just really get going, which I really enjoy. 2 100 by 100 for big abstracts and 2 80 by 100 and 4 70 by 100. So they'll be busy. So I'm just going to pop them together, and they're dead easy to put together. Make sure the sloping side is facing all the same way, so the canvas, it's held away from the wood. You slot in the little square bits, I'll show them to you. We'll just fix that in temporarily on either end. So they come with these fixings. These just slip into the groove in the aluminium part of the stretcher, and there's a little notch through which the little bolt with a nut on fixes. But if you don't screw it down tightly, the corner bracket slips in. So that's not permanent, it's still movable, not until I tighten this up. If you tighten everything up at this point, it can be difficult to push them together at the last minute. Slot in the lovely aluminium, really strong aluminium corner brackets. And then just slip them together. One. Oh, I've forgotten the little thing that holds them. So that can just go in temporarily. 1, 2. Again, making sure that the slope is on the right side so that your canvas doesn't touch the wood. Slip in the last 2 corner brackets. So you've already got the first 3 stretchers put together with the fixings temporarily in place. They're not screwed down, you'll do that after. And now this is the last bit. You have the 3 together. And then of course the last bit will just slide in, like so. Really, really simple. Just got to do it at the same time. And then everything's ready to screw up. Then all the little fixings are ready to, again, tighten, but only temporarily. You can really mess with them when it comes to the putting on the canvas, or just before you put it on the canvas. Dead easy. So in minutes I am going to have 6 frames. They're so strong they don't need the internal crossbar. There you go, there's 2 done. Dead easy, a real pleasure. Right, that's wonderful. 6 aluminium frames done in about 40 minutes. All the bits were sent, dead easy to assemble, and then I have some spares left over. I've got my great big roll of 13-ounce pretty fine grade canvas. I need it really strong because it gets put under so much tension when I apply all the rest of the canvas and threads later on. Laid it out, laid out my 2 stretches that I've already made so that I can cut it out. What an absolute pleasure! Give the canvases enough space so that I know I've got enough canvas to wrap around the 2 of them. And there we go. After making up the aluminium frame, I then make sure it's square using the known square edges of my table, and then I will put the canvas on. I've marked the centre of each length and also the centre of the fabric so that I can keep warping the weft straight. I've placed the frame face down, the flat side on the top and the beveled edge on the bottom, so that when the canvas is applied it will sit away from the edge of the frame. Using the mark on the middle of the stretcher bar and the mark on the middle of the canvas, I can then start pulling it over and staple each side corresponding to where the central marks are round the frame, and that way the warp and the weft will stay straight. You can also mark the centre of the canvas, and that way when you tension it you can use these as a gauge as to how far you've pulled it over to one side or the other. I'm really lucky. I used to be a traditional upholsterer, so I've got this lovely compressor and staple gun. So you begin by tensioning it slightly towards you, not too tight. Put a couple of staples in, and then do the opposite side. So you have the mark in the middle, don't pull it too far over, you don't need to pull it too tight, and then same again, just a couple of staples, tensioning sideways as well as across the canvas, and then you move around the canvas. So now the end one, line up your lines, tension it slightly, and staple, pulling to the sides of the canvas as well as top and bottom. This is really lovely thick canvas, really actually quite hard to tension. Right, you'll see in the middle it's nowhere near the middle, but I didn't measure it. Right, here again, tension it, not too tight. Tension it from side to side as well, keeping warp and weft straight. See, this stuff's so thick, I can never move it once it's on. I'm going to give myself some chance to save my poor little hands from the canvas, because I've got 6 to do and it sort of really can sandpaper your hand. So I will pull it to the sides and over the edges. Another couple more staples. Go to the opposite edge, pull it to the side and over the edges, and a couple more staples on each side, to the side and over the edges. Having done the 2 ends, I'll now go onto the 2 sides again. So you don't tension just one length at a time, you tension it equally throughout the canvas, and really you want to be arriving at the corners at the same time. So for instance, like on the long sides of this one, I will tension those more so that I arrive at the corners at the same time. So pull it to the side and then pull it over. do the opposite side again. Make sure you're tensioning it to the edges as well as from side to side. You can see that's quite ruckled, but it'll, yeah, it's going to come out. Make sure you pull to the edges. I'm making a bit of a fuss about this one, but honestly this canvas is really heavy, really nice. Right, so I've got the stapling going across the top of the canvas and coming up to meet it across the sides. Everything's nice and tight, but not too tight. It doesn't have to be that tight. Process of applying the size for the canvas. So I'll get to this point where the stapling has tensioned the canvas towards the corners of the frame on all four corners. Leave myself enough space just to finish off the corners nicely. I know as well that the methods I use with my paintings, I apply a lot of glue to it, so the canvas comes under a lot of tension. Now to do the corners. Let me take off my gloves to do this. Now to do the corners. So you tension it up to one side. Then bring one bit down like so. It's like doing hospital corners on a bed. Pull it nice and tight. Don't take out the excess. Then you tuck it under, and this one just folds over. So you do one initial little pleat and then just tuck it over. Nice and neat. And all the excess is really on the back and being pulled away from here, so you want that as a nice neat little tuck in there. And just tension it over. So it's one little pleat, then keep this little bit nice and tight, nice and tidy, so there's no bulk inside there, and then pull that over. And this bit can be pulled tight first and stapled, and then this bit just keep nice and neat. And I keep the fold in the same position on the four corners, so it folds under from the shorter length. So I'll tension the long length to the end. Take that first initial little pleat and then make sure the underside of the next pleat is clean and not got too much excess in it, and then take the top over. Done.